Beep, 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 beep. Welcome back to the Court of the Edijester, everybody. How are we today? Oh, gosh. Here we go. Another day, another dollar, as they say. Another shirt with a dirty collar. What have I got for you? We're going back in time today here at the Court of the Edijester. Back to the glorious heydays of 2021. Now, why, I hear you ask, is the jester dragging us back to this arcane period in history? Well, it's only, 4 or 5 years ago. It's amazing what changes. So I thought this was really interesting when I went searching for it. I've seen mumblings about Mumsnet and in regards to the Online Safety Act, and I'm intrigued to try to understand what's going on. And I know that many of you who listen to me jabber on in the mornings are users of Mumsnet. So I would like to revisit this, go back to this and get your take on it, which is what we're going to do. Before that, sign up, become a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee. Anything you can do to help to keep me going would be really appreciated. Okay, let's get going. This is from 2021 in the Mail on Sunday. Justine Roberts, CEO of Mumsnet, urged ministers to make changes to the proposed online safety bill amid fears it could lead to censorship. All right, this is about that bloody bill again, and there's more of this to come. It's an unmitigated nightmare. What they've got planned after is even worse. Her call comes amid mounting concern from campaigners, lawyers and politicians that the legislation will have a catastrophic impact on free speech in the UK. The draft bill will impose a so-called duty of care on tech giants, including Facebook, Twitter and Google, to remove any content that could cause psychological harm. The new system will be policed by the regulator Ofcom, bear in mind we're back in 21 here, which will have the power to impose fines of up to 18 million on firms. But critics warn the definition of harmful is too vague and that faced with the prospect of fines, tech firms could design algorithms that will simply erase comments that could be deemed controversial or offensive. People could be prevented from commenting on a range of issues, from transgender rights to Brexit, because under the legislation, the tech giants policing the internet could delete them. Mumsnet has already been targeted by activists. The Mail on Sunday revealed in 2019 how margarine brand Flora stopped advertising on the platform after a handful of transgender activists complained the site was transphobic. Ms. Roberts said the government has told her that firms using their best endeavours to protect users will not suffer ill effects. But, she added, however, it's obviously a concern that we don't yet know what will be defined as constituting psychological harm. And we still don't. Or other kinds of legal but harmful speech. Legal but harmful. Jesus, it's like something out of a dystopian nightmare. And we urge the government to bring forward these other definitions before this legislation goes much further. Never did. If they don't, there's a risk that litigants will feel emboldened to force platforms such as Mumsnet to censor perfectly valid freedom of expression. One Mumsnet user described the bill as legislation designed to shut women up. It was, it is. It comes as the MOS can reveal the influence of Scottish charity Carnegie UK Trust in drawing up the measures. I've talked about them before. They're worth a dig if you've got the time. For 3 years, William Perrin, a former advisor to Tony Blair and a board member of Carnegie, has been working on the proposal along with Professor Lorna Woods of the University of Essex, Maeve Walsh, a former civil servant once in charge of digital strategy at the Department of Culture, Media and Sport. I've covered all this previously. Earlier this year, Mr. Perrin wrote that the government's proposal were based upon principles and detailed work put forward by the Trust. This work had been bankrolled by Luminate, an organisation founded by eBay creator Pierre Omidyar. Luminate gave Carnegie £264,000 to help engage the expertise of Professor Woods and Miss Walsh. Carnegie UK Trust defended its work, saying it has been endorsed by 3 parliamentary committees. None have suggested that a duty of care amounts to censorship. Unbelievable in retrospect. Now, looking back at 2021, the absolute naivety of that statement when we're seeing what is happening is happening. It is hard to fault the motivations behind the government's Online Safety Act. I beg to differ. After all, no one wants to be unsafe online. No one wants to be a target of racism or sexism or abuse. Yet it's the price of a free country. It's the price of free speech. What do you mean no one wants to be unsafe online? What are you talking about? That's a really weird sentence. I've got no interest about being safe or unsafe online. I take precautions. Peculiar. Tonight, most of us will be rooting for Gareth Southgate and the England team, living and breathing every second of the match. But we also know that there will also be a handful of idiots who won't be able to stop themselves from being vile about the team on social media. This was an event that was taking place that day on the 10th of July in 2021. The question is, how do you fix it? And who should be given the responsibility of doing so? Personally, I'm not sure you can even legislate to change the way people behave online. The bill doesn't even give the police more resources to prosecute those who break the law. It doesn't even state what it is or isn't acceptable behaviour online. Rather, it sets in place a framework that will allow tech giants in Silicon Valley to sweep away content deemed by their censorious algorithms to be harmful. What those promoting the legislation seem to blithely overlook is the chilling effect that this will have on free speech in the world. It means, for example, that comments made on lively and informative discussion forums, such as Mumsnet, and even in personal social media messages, could be deleted almost as soon as they've been typed onto a computer or mobile phone. You might not agree with opinions expressed online about gender politics or Brexit, but would you prefer a world where those views are in effect outlawed by artificial intelligence from thousands of miles away? This wholesale outsourcing of online safety to powerful global corporations, the very platforms that politicians have blamed for the systemic failure to combat hate online, is a fundamental failing of the bill in its current form. It imposes a legal obligation on internet giants to proactively protect their users from harm, but it is so vague that it fails to define properly what constitutes harm. Furthermore, words or comments that would be perfectly legal to use in a conversation in a pub could be censored if the Silicon Valley algorithm decides they are legal but harmful. The threat of enormous fines, up to 18 million, administered by the communication regulator Ofcom, will make the likes of Facebook and Google lean heavily on the side of caution and over-censorship. And this rush to erase will make some people less safe and can easily put them in personal jeopardy. The issue is deeply personal for me. As a Jewish woman, occasionally in the public eye, I've almost become immune to the unpleasant and offensive comments thrown my way daily online. But among them, far more often than should be acceptable to anyone, are threats to safety. It then goes on to explain how essentially this is a shoddy bill. So back in 2021, Mumsnet were well aware. I'm intrigued to know, what is the response of Mumsnet now? I don't know, so I'm hoping you're going to tell me. Are they behind this? Or, as we are seeing in the literal road to hell that this is, that people have collectively lost their minds on this one. And they seem to be quite happy to give it away, which I think is terribly sad. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.